Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what time you're seeing this. I'm Derek Piper. I've been teaching advanced earth science for quite a long number of years here at Vickery Creek Middle School, and I'm really excited to be able to present the opportunity for our kids to be part of an actual research study. I've done this 2 years ago. We completed this, and with a huge amount of success. Really, kids got to investigate. Well, there's just a thrill as being part of it, and so that's what I would like this class to have as well. And this is actually going to be a much bigger project than we've had in the past. This is primarily funded by the National Science Foundation. It's put out by the main universities that have the investigators of interest are from the University of Maryland and Temple, but there are other institutes that are interested in how this is going to come about. And Stanford is also involved. Ms. Elaine's class will be doing some work with how evidence relates to claims and looking at that evidence. And in our particular case, we will be working with an investigator from the University of North Georgia who works with the investigators from University of Maryland and Temple. Here's the education ease. Now, the purpose is to investigate the use of instructional scaffolds called the model evidence diagrams in the promotion of scientific thinking. Now, these are things I've been using for a long time, really to build skills. My goal really is 4 or 5 years down the road, how are they going to be doing on those free response questions in AP Environmental Science? That's kind of where I look at it. That's where this came from, is to start preparing them to look at how that in a graphic way to really see how that works. At the heart of it is that their students will be presented usually with two models. Oftentimes they're competing, but not always. And so then in various pieces of evidence, I'm more interested in just how they see the evidence relating to the model. So each piece of evidence is going to have, how does evidence one relate to model A? How does evidence one relate to B? Does it support it? Does it strongly support it? Does it contradict it? Or it has nothing to do with it? And so they fill out this to how they feel after looking at the evidence. Then I bring them over to a group, and they kind of try to come up with a group one based on how they feel. And from that point on, I start, then I ask them probing questions, and I have them really do a written response as to what they felt. But it might look something like this. This is a very clean one because they haven't drawn it themselves, but you can see how each piece of evidence has a relationship that they had put down there. For instance, look at model 4. I think this is model A. It's about wetlands. Model A is like pro wetlands, I guess, from an environmental standpoint. Model B is like, well, they're just a nuisance and they really don't provide any benefit. So let's see, evidence number 4, many wetlands are located in rapidly developing areas of the country. This particular student felt, well, that really pretty much contradicts what this is saying, that they're a nuisance and provide little overall benefit. I'm not, you could argue that either way, I guess. And then they feel it strongly supports the idea that they provide equal systems. They could take this then to their group and they come up with what they have. The prompt I oftentimes use is I felt this way because, and then they go on from there. There's going to be 4 total of these given, and they're going to be much larger in the sense that there'll be 3 models and 8 pieces of evidence, and the class will be asked to parse that down. What 2 pieces of models seem to be more interesting, and then which of the 8 pieces of evidence can be parsed down to 4. Now, I'm not sure exactly how that works because 2 classes are going to be taught one way, 2 classes are going to be taught another way, and a third class, I'm not sure how that's going to work as a control. But that's how this whole thing works. There will be a pre and post test involved and about how kids feel and whatnot. They'll all be taught this twice the same way. I mean, we'll have, students being taught one way for 2 sessions, then they'll be taught the other way for the last 2 sessions. But they'll be, as we go through all of this, we'll be talking about, well, where is this data going to be used? How is our names protected? Obviously, one thing is some of their one class will be recorded, for instance, and we'll record them in their audio. But once that audio gets to University of Maryland, it's usually given to a graduate student who transcribes it, and their names are taken off. It's it's going to be called participant 1, participant 2. Well, what about our off task? What if we start talking about our girlfriends or whatever? I don't know what they're talking about. And that's actually called off-task conversation. That's not recorded, but everything else is. So those are the kind of fun things to talk about and discuss with kids as we're going through this research. The main thing I need is that, as any research of involving humans, is we need consent and assent forms filled out, regardless of whether there's whether they want their child involved or not. If you can have them, support, say, yes, I'd like my child involved, or no, I would like my child's data not to be included. That's up to you. I don't even really look at that. I just make sure it's filled out. That's my whole point. Although, it's It's the assent form is by the student. So those are the two forms that I need. I need them back from everybody. There's no, I can't just say, well, I won't sign it, so it's not going to work. But I need to have something that says, no, you don't agree. That would be fine. But at any rate, I'm excited about being a part of this because the 2 years ago, what made it a success was being part of something bigger than themselves, being involved in getting all that kind of attention they were getting. And it's just there's a lot of cool things about it and being able to discuss it. We've already discussed a little bit about what an IRB is, why we have it, why we just can't randomly do research on human subjects, why their data is very carefully taken care of right off the bat in the study, so their names will be erased. As disappointed as they are, they will be participant 1, participant 2, participant 3 to the researcher. They'll never know who they are. But we are contributing to the bigger picture. So with that in mind, if you have any questions or comments or anything you'd like me to know, go ahead and shoot me an email. I'd be happy to respond to that. I'm excited for these kids to have this opportunity. I think we'll do one of our first studies, our first actual MEL, probably about 2 or 3 weeks, perhaps before Thanksgiving break. And I'm excited for that to happen. Thank you.